Hey Mom, welcome to Mom Talk. We are so glad that you're with us today. We want to take just a few minutes to feed into your life and give you some encouragement and maybe hopefully some wisdom and some tips. If you don't know me yet, I'm Anna, and hanging out with me today we have Karen and Jacinda. We're talking about bad adults today. Dun, dun, dun.
I know, right, exactly.
Yeah, and the bad adults in our kids' lives. So Jacinda, I know you have a little bit of a story to share.
I do. I have so many, but I'm going to just select just one. When my son, my middle son was 6, we went to a local festival in our area for crafts and things, and they happened to feature apples. And he had picked up an apple out of a bin of apples, and 6-year-olds aren't thinking like an adult, and he looked at it and he just tossed it back into the bin, and we were going, no, because we're thinking, this is somebody's product and it's gonna, make it all spotty. And the grown-up that was standing there manning his stuff came up to my 6-year-old, put his hands on his shoulders and shoved him and started shaking his finger in his face and yelling at him in public. And there are people like that where you'll have an instant moment like that, or you might have someone like a teacher who is just constantly degrading your child in more subtle ways. But there are those bad adults out there. And so the question today is, what do you do about those bad adults who are influencing your kids' lives?
So how did you handle that?
Well, number one, that was the moment when the power of instinct kicked in, and I was like, don't you push my son! And I let the guy have it because I was the only defense my kid had in that moment. And so, I think that's okay to do that. I mean, when it's time to step up, go ahead and step up and use your voice. I mean, we tell our kids to speak for themselves. We sometimes have to speak for them.
So. Yeah, when they can't defend themselves, it's our job to stand up for them. Yeah, how about you, Karen?
Well, I think you do have to help them sometimes because they're not as strong or have the authority of an adult. But I think we also have to watch we don't overprotect our children. But we teach them ways to cope and talk about the situation with them so they understand, like maybe that person was really having a bad day or whatever and shouldn't have acted that way, and what was the right thing, and help them learn from it.
Yeah, that's so good. Well, I had a situation with my daughter at school where she was coming home regularly sharing with me some concerns about one of her teachers, saying some inappropriate things to other kids in class, being overly critical. And I did at first, we prayed for him. We said, maybe he's having a bad day. Maybe there's something in his personal life that's going on, but it kept happening. So my daughter was at the age where I could encourage her to go and talk to that teacher, or in this case, she felt it was better to talk to the principal. So she very bravely did that, which I was amazed that she had that kind of courage. Unfortunately, the adults in the situation did not handle that situation properly. And at that point is when Mom steps in, and so had some very, very confrontational discussions. And then when things still didn't quite go the way they needed to, that's when I was able to contact even the superiors or even bring in my husband. But the funny thing is when my husband and I went and met, I told him, he could start talking, but it didn't take very long before I just
pounced on the situation
in there. Yes, but I don't know. What would you ladies say about if none of that worked? Would you take your child out of the classroom from that teacher?
I don't know. I mean, you don't really know until you're there. But I think there's this truth about advocating for your children, especially as a woman. There's a level of emotion and attachment to your child. And I found when I'm advocating for my kids, I really had to try to back up and see it from someone else's point of view. Every time I've worked with the school and they've brought a concern, they're like this a lot of times, very defensive, because a lot of times they have that yelling person. They need to have the time to know you before you can advocate well. But you do have to advocate. You have to have goals and know what your real purpose is. It's not that my kid was, that my kid had to face real life. It's that this is the specific concern I have.
Absolutely. And remember, it's always good to talk to God about the situation that your child is in, get His wisdom and His direction about what way to go. So as we leave you today, we always want to leave you with this verse from Ecclesiastes 4:9. It says, 2 people are better off than one, for they can help each other succeed. If one person falls, the other can reach out and help. So thank you for joining us, because doing motherhood together makes us so much better. We'll see you next time.
Bye.